Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're setting up the ultimate heavyweight clash. In one corner, cold, hard, unfeeling data. You know, the spreadsheets, regressions, those massive predictive models. And in the other corner, raw human emotion, absolute unpredictable chaos, and the totally unscripted drama of sports. We're looking at the beautiful game, football, and we're asking a question that's literally consumed analysts, managers, and fans for decades. Seriously think about it. Can algorithms and data points truly capture the stochastic, that deeply random magic of a football match? Can a mathematical model look at a screen and definitively tell us who's going to win? Or is there just this inherent, unquantifiable spirit to the game that absolutely refuses to be boxed into a spreadsheet?
Okay, let's dive into this with our first section, the quest to predict football, where math meets the pitch. If you follow modern football, you already know the sport has become completely obsessed with analytics. Teams are leaving literally nothing to chance. They're tracking every single pass, every foul, every blade of grass covered. We are way past the days of relying on a manager's gut feeling on the touchline. To really grasp this quest for predictability, we're going to look at a fascinating 2023 bachelor thesis from the KTH Royal Institute of Technology. These researchers set out with a hugely ambitious goal: scientifically map match-related statistics to winning outcomes. To pull this off, they used something called binary logistic regression, which, hey, is just a very fancy way of saying they built a math formula to predict a strict either-or outcome, winning versus not winning. And the sheer volume of data they fed into this model is wild. They didn't just look at a couple of games. No, they analyzed every single English Premier League match played between 2010 and 2020. That is 4,070 individual matches. And for each one of those games, they tracked 114 different variables. We're talking everything from clearances and corners to possession stats, offsides, and the precise clinical accuracy of every shot taken. Now, I know this correlation plot looks like a completely intimidating wall of math and color coding, but the beauty of this thing is its purpose. It's built to essentially strip away the luck of the game. It handles variables that overlap, like, how passes and possession practically measure the exact same thing, and isolates the hidden rules of football. This is literally math trying to tame the chaos. So, moving into our next section, building a statistical model. What actually wins games? So the crucial point is, after crunching the numbers on thousands of matches and filtering out all those overlapping variables, what did the model actually figure out? What are the statistical cornerstones of a Premier League victory? Well, according to the data, winning really boils down to a few heavily weighted factors. Having the home advantage, that plays a massive role. But even more importantly, it's about clinical finishing, the team's ability to actually get their shots on target. It's not just about blasting the ball wildly, it's about accuracy. Combine that with minimizing turnovers, and boom, you have the statistical blueprint for a win. But here is where we hit a really fascinating contradiction. On one hand, we have the data, right? It's predictable, logical, perfectly modeled. And then we have the pitch. Even the researchers who built this incredibly complex model included a major warning in their conclusion. They said the tactical usability of this data is strictly limited because football is inherently stochastic. The ball is round, as the old saying goes. And to truly fundamentally understand what they mean by that, we have to leave the spreadsheets behind and take a trip back to 1999. Which brings us to Section 3, the 1999 Champions League Final, the ultimate disruptor. We're pivoting away from cold math to look at an event that completely disrupted the data: the 1999 UEFA Champions League Final at the Camp Nou in Barcelona. This match is the perfect case study of what happens when a flawless statistical model completely breaks down in the face of human will. The stakes here literally could not have been higher. Manchester United versus Bayern Munich. Both teams had already conquered their domestic leagues. Both were hunting a historic, almost impossible treble. But United went into this clash with one arm tied behind their back. Their captain Roy Keane and passing maestro Paul Scholes were both suspended. When you look at the match stats, it's crazy how neck and neck these two titans were. Total shots, exactly 15 each. Possession, a razor-thin split, 53% to 47%. Fouls, 11 to 10. If you fed this specific data into that KTH logistic regression model we just talked about, it would probably short-circuit trying to pick a clear winner. The stats simply couldn't separate them. But the actual flow of the game? Agonizing for United fans.
Just 6 minutes in, Mario Basler catches Peter Schmeichel flat-footed and buries a low free kick for Bayern. And for the next 80 minutes, the German defense is an absolute wall. Pure desperation sets in, and Manchester United manager Alex Ferguson rolls the dice. He brings on strikers Teddy Sheringham in the 67th minute and Gunnar Solskjær in the 81st. Then we hit the 90-minute mark. Bayern is winning. The fourth official holds up the board. 3 minutes of injury time.
All right, Section 4, stoppage time chaos, breaking the model.
We are now entering the most famous 3 minutes in the history of sports. This is the exact moment where statistics go entirely out the window. Tactics just dissolve, and pure, unadulterated chaos takes the wheel. It's 36 seconds into stoppage time. United force a corner. Goalkeeper Peter Schmeichel actually runs the entire length of the pitch into the Bayern penalty box. Total chaos ensues. The ball gets cleared poorly, falls to Ryan Giggs on the edge of the box. He hits this weak, honestly poorly struck shot, but it falls directly to the substitute, Teddy Sheringham, who swipes at it and nestles the ball right into the bottom corner. Equalizer.
The shock inside the stadium is just palpable. British broadcaster Clive Teldesley delivers one of the absolute most legendary calls in sports history. Name on the trophy, Teddy Sheringham, with 30 seconds of added time played, has equalized for Manchester United. They are still in the European Cup. Trust me, no regression model predicted that.
And it gets crazier. Less than 30 seconds after the kickoff, United force another corner. David Beckham swings it in, Sheringham leaps up, nods the ball down across the face of the goal, and right there, reacting faster than anybody else on the pitch, is the other substitute, Gunnar Solskjær. He sticks out a foot and just pokes the ball into the roof of the net. Childsley's on the mic, his voice literally breaking with pure emotion, and Solskjær has won it. Manchester United have reached the promised land. It happened so fast, so incredibly improbably, that UEFA President Lennart Johansson, who had already left his seat to take the elevator down to the pitch, stepped out of the elevator to find the team he had just prepared Bayern Munich ribbons for completely defeated.
Pierluigi Collina, the legendary Italian referee officiating the match, later described the noise from the Manchester United fans at that final whistle as a lion's roar. And the contrast on the pitch was just staggering to look at. United players are literally cartwheeling, while Bayern players are physically completely overwhelmed with despair. Defender Samuel Kaffour breaks down in tears, violently beating the floor in disbelief.
Which brings us to our final section, the limits of data, when stats fail.
So, as the dust finally settles on the Camp Nou, let's bring our pacing back down for a second and return to that original question. We literally just witnessed an event that defied all logic, unfolding in the absolute dying seconds of a match that was statistically totally deadlocked. Bayern Munich legend Lothar Matthäus, who was subbed off in the 80th minute, fully thinking the game was won, bitterly remarked afterwards, "It was not the best team that won, but the luckiest." And you know what? From a purely statistical standpoint, he definitely have a point. The outcome totally defied logical, data-driven sense. It was a complete anomaly. And this brilliantly illustrates the exact conclusion reached by the researchers in that KTH thesis we looked at. Look, you can absolutely run 4,070 matches through a binary logistic regression. You can absolutely identify that home advantage and clinical finishing correlate to winning. But the tactical usability of that data, it has a hard ceiling, all because of the sport's stochastic nature. You can map the stats, sure, but you simply cannot model human spirit. You can't model the pure desperation of a 90th minute corner kick or the absolute chaos of a bouncing ball in a crowded penalty box. Which leaves us with this final thought to ponder today. We live in an era where we constantly try to quantify, measure, and predict every little thing around us. But does the true magic of sports lie in the very fact that it cannot be completely solved by a spreadsheet? Think about it. If we could predict the beautiful game perfectly, would it still be beautiful? Keep that in mind next time you watch a match. Thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.